Peace, YouTube. This is me, Cass. I'm coming at you with a lock update. Honest, you know. I'm coming to the thoughts, from what I've done, cutting my hair 2 nights ago, and it was in my mind the thought of what would be the reaction or the feel after the fact of taking action the action that took course. Um, what I regret, what I've done, and I was only able to have a limited vision of what would have been the benefit, of cutting my hair, and what would have been the consequence of my actions. So, I don't know if anyone knows, or if not knows, but if anyone's watched my video, a trip to the masjid, you may be able to get a bit of a glimpse as to the area that I go to, where I offer prayer. And around that vicinity, there's a group of Haitians, and they all wear locks, and they're kind of like freeform locks, or if not, they manicure them periodically. And I noticed that within my Islam that we we usually choose a middle path, and enjoying what is good and abstain and forbid what is not. And one thing about it was, with my hair growing as how it was, there was a sense of what we call in Arabic sakina. There was a sense of security, and they would look at me and I would view them, and it was very easy for us to, wish each other well. Now that I have a haircut, the question is, am I viewed as the same person? I'm Haitian myself. You see what I'm saying? But my features don't run deep, whereas this says if they will recognize me or notice me. And I don't even speak Creole. I was raised on my mother's side of the family, which is Native American, you know, and black. But that comes to mind, that unison that was there upon just growing hair. But what also influenced my decision was from the life that I was living, the life that I was leading previously. You know, there was a sense of pride that sometimes seemed overwhelming to the point where it was like I was humble, but then I had a pride which was like, I was able to hold my own. And I don't think it was necessarily throwing me off, but it was definitely difficult for me to enjoin or to keep the company of those who I wanted to reach. It was like, you would have people in fright, and you would wind up not having those anyone to associate with. There was isolation. Then I spoke on it in my freeform awareness of people paying more attention to what you're saying and stuff like that, because you seem strange, so called, to the people. And I loved it. However, as I know that I'm supposed to do as my Lord has asked me to do, listen and obey, I know that a mustard seed of pride will not make it into the gateways of the paradise. And here I am, continuously, like insanity, running into this same wall and thinking that it's gonna move or I'm gonna get through. So and then again, I'm honest, I'm open with you. There was things of impurity, matters of impurity with myself, my lust, living in this Western society, especially when it gets warm out, you have people that's, prone to wearing less clothing and showing a little more flesh. These things are definitely a snare. We call it a fitna. It's definitely a snare, and it's definitely like you know um just hardships that you go through. You would constantly have to you know wash your hair, and the water has to reach the scalp. I hope that my sincerity of my ibadah, my worship, would be accepted, because when I would fall into this matter of lust, you know I would of course wash myself and purify myself again. But I noticed when I also cut my hair the other night, I had a, a layer of dandruff on my scalp. And it's something to think about. How pure or how impure was I? So the haircut had definitely given me better access to my scalp and being able to wash and purify myself before presenting myself before my Lord. Mm, I don't think that this is the end of my hair growing. I decided to become a bit more uniformed with my brothers in Islam, solely for the sake to know, it's just that extra security that we know that we're classified, we're specified as this, and we conduct ourselves like such. For me to have hair on my head, and the reputation that dread wearers have, even with smoking herb, you know, I will not shit you. I've smoked herb, but I've abstained from doing these things. The wearer of the dreadlock, usually I see in my immediate surroundings, they're also all tatted out. All these tattoos. Like, it seems as though sometimes you think of, where's the direction of the dread wearer going? Is the dread wearer one of those that's trying to reform something, as opposed to, or is the dread wearer one of those who is giving up? This is something that I had to question. You know, I work with a brother that wears dreads, and he's Muslim as well. I thought we had plenty of things in common, but actions speak louder than words, and I think that we're going in two different directions. You know what I'm saying? Not to kick no dirt on the individual, because some of it I be into myself. Some of the ways that he may conduct and carry himself, which is not pleasing, I find myself being a victim of that as well. But it is also important to, hide and conceal some of the wrong that you may do, because on the day of judgment, your Lord and his power, he's the only shade, and he has the power to conceal or also to reveal before and embarrass you or humiliate you, as opposed to hiding you and concealing what you used to do. But you will be informed of what you used to do. I was at the barbershop that night, 2 nights ago, and I was just like sitting there. My cousin, she actually was like, "You need to be the one sitting in this barber chair to get my hair cut." So, she gets on me usually, every time I'm in her company and stuff. So, we was just kind of like, there's a bunch of brothers there. So I'm like, brothers, uh, honestly, who feels that I need to have a haircut? And it was only three brothers. They all three of them raised their hand. So I said, all right, I'll cut my hair. I gambled. I ain't gonna say I lost. I'm not gonna say that I lost, because, well, then I can't say that I gambled, because I ain't win neither. But a reminder benefits the believer. I was riding to the masjid that night, and one of the brothers that raised his hand was with me, and he was saying, this is something that we strive for, to have a neat and clean appearance and being uniformed amongst ourselves. And so it was somewhat of a breath of fresh air. I feel as though there's been a couple of things that has been lost. And since I'm running short on this video, I'm going to probably take the time out and jot some of these things down, so that I may be able to present them to you in some detail without rambling so much. But there was definitely some benefit with having the hair on my head. But I don't know. That's the beauty of it. I don't know who I may have touched, you know what I'm saying, and whose heart may have been softened by mercy of their Lord to kind of get that feel of this is an African identity. But Islam, supersedes any of the color barriers. So that was why I was somewhat woeing the brakes as well, that which kind of reinforces my decision that I have made. I don't necessarily feel as though I need to necessarily liberate people, my African or melanated people, through my hair. I mean, that is such a wake up and a reminder, but then you have others who have hair just as well, whether it be manicured or freeformed. Even though you could distinguish them, you would still have a melting pot kind of thing happening. Like, oh, all dread wearers are, they all about just chasing women, or you be seeing them up in the bars and in the clubs, and at least in my area, I'm from Jersey, in tri-state area, you see these kind of things happening. Lil Wayne is like idolized, you know what I mean, by people that I know even at my job. They're like wearing dreads, these Ray-Ban, black frames. They wearing tats. You see what I'm saying? And these in my opinion are are weak-minded to some aspects. But then again, they're just enjoying what they're what they like, you know what I'm saying? Which I can't blame them, but this is what comes with, in my opinion, a lack of education of the hereafter. You know what I'm saying? They live up to this here YOLO, this you only live once. But don't you understand though? The once does not end at the grave. Like the once that you live carries on to eternal bliss and happiness, or eternal punishment. So my work here on the YouTube or in my society, all this is not done, and I wonder who will still follow me, who will still listen to some of the things that I may have to say, because I'm still sharing the same revelations, the same experiences. At least some of my thoughts would still be fresh and benefit to those who are out there freeform, because this is what I'm here to talk about. That in Islam. If we're not talking about Allah and His Messenger and how to, live an upright life, then it's irrelevant. Next, and some money, this is irrelevant. You see? So I'm gonna keep you guys posted on what what's going through my mind, some of the experiences, and probably maybe how I'm being treated as of lately. I go back to work tomorrow to start a new work week, and this is going to be a new sight for the people to see. I have to go through the neighborhoods where it's locals dreads that hang out there, and this is going to be a new sight to see. And don't get me wrong, I feel a little intimidated. I feel as though, chicken with his head cut off. Not that far gone, but in a sense where I don't know what to expect. Where the people may have had respect for me because they seen my gangster. Nah, they seen what I was about. It's different now. Like, oh, this. Oh, now you a Muslim. But it's like, nah, I was always a Muslim. It's just you just kind of didn't see that. But we'll talk about that more, inshallah, Lord willing. YouTube, me, Cass, peace. Assalamu alaikum.